Welcome to the Making Up the Numbers podcast. The Making Up the Numbers podcast is sponsored by Hope Technology, Revolution Bike Park, and the world's finest independent mountain bike magazine, Singletrack.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a world's level race to get excited about. I'm George Thompson, and it doesn't matter what the weather's like. When the second weekend in October comes around, I'm pretty sure we'll all be indoors, glued to Red Bull TV, watching the 2020 World Championships from Leogang. And tonight, myself and Jack Redding and a few guests will be talking through the runners and riders. Jack, it's been a while. How have you been?
It has, mate. Yeah, I've not been too bad. I managed to fit in a trip away with the team in July and the start of August. And then we would have been going back to do more French Cups, but with the 2-week quarantine on getting home, we had to kind of sit tight. So, yeah, just been training and riding and hoping things were going to go ahead. And, yeah, as you say, we've got some events. So we leave on Wednesday and we've got a 5-week trip planned. And, yeah, could be more excited.
Excellent. Well, let's start with Team GB then for the World's Championships. And in the men's, we have the 2011 and 2016 World Champion, winner of the last World Cup in Snowshoe, Danny Hart. The 2017 National Series winner, Charlie Hatton. The 2019 Hardline winner, Bernard Kerr. Laurie Greenland, who was the 2015 Junior World Champion. Matt Walker, the 2017 Junior World Champion. Greg Williamson, who's a 2-time GB National Champion. And Reece Wilson, who's, of course, had that famous World Cup podium at Fort William. And in the women's, well, it's stacked, isn't it? He's got Rachel Atherton, 5-time World Champion. Maya Atkinson, Stacey Fisher, Michaela Parton, and Tony Seagrave, 7-time World Cup winner. Shout out to Becky Skelton, who the current GB national champ, I think. Is that right, Jack?
I believe so.
Yeah, she didn't realise you had to apply, so you think someone perhaps would have given her a nudge at British Cycling, do you reckon?
Yeah, it's a bit 50-50, isn't it? I mean, if she wanted to race, then she should have spoke up, and vice versa. If she's the national champ, you would have thought people selecting the team would have sent her a quick email and just said, "Are you interested?" So yeah, it seems a little bit strange to me, that one.
And then on the juniors, no junior women, but just junior men, we've got Ethan Crack, James Elliott, Dennis Luffman, Luke Mumford, your boy Dan Slack, Connor Smith, and Luke Williamson. It's a strong squad, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of talent there. Obviously, I know how fast Dan is, so really excited to see what he can do. Luke Mumford had that podium at Fort William.
Yeah.
And then Luke Williamson's absolutely pinned. Didn't quite have the year everyone was expecting last year, but he's got that year under his belt. So yeah, we got some real talent there, and hopefully we can bring home at least one medal.
Cool. In the elite men, some really big guns missed out. Brendan Fairclough, I think he's the only omission from the squad from last year. G didn't make it last year, but he's 2-time world champion. There's yourself, there's Brayton, Joe Breeden, Caden Edwards, your 2018 junior world champion, and Mike Jones. And I think I saw it on Wide Open that G and Joe both made the criteria, but got edged out on overall position. Do you know if they're the reserves?
So since we spoke about this, I've had a little look on the rankings, and I've spoke to Joe, and Joe has confirmed he is a reserve. And then, yeah, I mean, in the results, you've got Charlie's obviously in for Brendan. I don't know whether Brendan said he didn't want to race. Who knows what's gone on there? I know he doesn't like Leogang. He's had an 11th or a 12th, and then G had a 16th. I'd had a 21st. This is last year's results. And then Joe had that 25th at Val d'Isole, but obviously had that amazing first qualifier. Yeah. So that points weekend has rightly so put him in there as a reserve. So all you can assume is G with his 16th is the second reserve. I can tell you I'm not. So, I would think it's Joe and G will be there and ready to stand in if someone has a nightmare in practice.
Well, there's a whole second team there that outside of France, USA and Australia, you'd probably be stronger than every other nation, do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same every year, isn't it? I mean, yeah, and you've just listed 6 riders there who all regularly compete for top 20s at World Cups. So, yeah, it's the same every year, and yeah, it's frustrating for a lot of people, but at the same time, it's world champs, and it is what it is. Only 7 get to go.
And I know you're not a fan of Leogang. I think you told me once you'd never race there again.
I think my words were I'd drop a nuke on the place if I could.
But are you gutted not to be racing?
That's not really the way I'd phrase it, because I never expected to race world champs. I started racing World Cups when I was like 21, 22. And like we've just said, the strength and depth and talent of our nation at downhill is just ridiculous. So I never, ever thought I'd race world championships. And in 2017, when I got to go to Cairns and compete, it was just absolutely amazing. So obviously, like, I'd love to go again, but it's not something I ever, expected. So yeah, I don't, if World Cup criteria changed and we could only take a limited number of riders and I was missing out, then obviously I'd be gutted, because, I finished last year 41st in the world and I deserve to be at these races. But world champs is different. So yeah, it's one of them. I'm excited to be going anyway and help people where I can.
Cool. Well, here's a question for you. Something I was thinking about the other day. Do you think that former world champions should be given a bye? Like, they've won the thing. We'd be honoured to have you come back and race, even if you don't make your national team.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's it would make good spectating. It would respect to those riders. Yeah, absolutely. As you say, to see lads like Steve,
Cade, G.
Nico, Cade, G, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be good viewing. And I also think that, I mean, if you finished in the World Cup overall top 60, which is what it is now, I personally believe you should have an automatic entry into World Championships, because there's riders there who never qualify for World Cups.
Yeah.
But because they're from a nation with a weaker standard of riders, they're there. And but that's never going to happen. So I can bleat about that all day.
Obviously, Dan's your junior. You're heading out with him?
Yeah, so we leave on Wednesday. We've got Crankworks in Innsbruck, which is exciting. And we're both racing that. And then obviously I'll then head on to Worlds with Dan. I'm actually racing the e-bike World Championships because
nice.
Because I'm there and I've got the Commensal Meta Power. I thought, why not? I'd experience that.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time, me and my mechanic Elliot, our time will be purely devoted to Dan, to making sure he's got everything he needs. I'll be trackside, Elliot will be in the pits, and we'll see what he can do.
Tell me a bit about the e-bike world champs then. Do you have to? Is it purely downhill or is there some uphill? Do you know?
I think it's purely cross country by the sounds of it. The wording is modified XC track, so I think it's just going to be an absolute lung buster.
Yeah.
And if I get there and that is the case, then I'm just gonna enjoy it. I think my plan will be go out as hard as I can first lap, try and get some TV time in the front group. And then maybe, have a beer off Dan every lap and just try and finish.
Do you have any idea how they regulate it or anything?
I'm told they do like a rolling road test to make sure your motor cuts out at 15 mile an hour.
Right.
But the thing is, the American criteria is different. Theirs is 20, I think. Right. So somebody could turn up from America on their bike that's regulated and it's different to mine. And then I think China, you don't have to have it regulated at all. So, yeah, I'm really not taking it seriously. I'm just glad to have an opportunity to get on the bike that week and we'll film a video of it, and it'll just be interesting to take part, really.
Cool. Well, you've probably got a bit more information than the rest of us then. Let's start with COVID tests. Do you know if you need one to get into Austria?
Yeah, so at first I looked online and things seemed to be saying we did need a test to actually enter Austria. And then since then, all the information, everything people sending me saying we don't need one to get in the country. So that's good. So we can go to Crankworks, aren't asking us for that either. They're just getting us to fill out these kind of health surveys and things like that. So Crankworks, we can just kind of turn up and we have to stay in our group. But then for getting to World Championships, we have to have a test on the Monday.
Right.
The UCI, because obviously technically you'd have one here, but when we're already over there, what do you do? So
the
UCI is setting up a system where people can turn up on the Monday and have a test. And then I assume you wouldn't be allowed on the site until you've got the result, but who knows? I get a feeling it's going to be a nightmare. I think a lot of people are going to turn up on that Monday, having been at other races or been somewhere else. They haven't got a test, and there's going to be queues for hours to get it sorted. And I anticipate big problems with that.
Do you know who can be at the event?
Only people who are accredited. So for us, there's me, myself, my mechanic, and Dan. And we've all had to apply for accreditation. British Cycling have helped Elliot get his through being the mechanic, and then I've luckily competed on the e-bike side of things. But there's no crowd. I think for junior riders, they
Wow.
could maybe take a parent. But it's going to be very strange without any kind of crowd at the finish. So yeah, it's going to be all publicized on Red Bull, obviously. But yeah, there'll be nobody else at the event other than staff riders.
And what's the support from BC been like?
Yeah, so it seems like BC have got their back against the wall for the downhill, really. It sounds like the XC are all getting kind of travelled out there and they're all staying together and that's all funded. But I think the lads on teams, so, your Danny, Matt, Laurie, those boys, they'll just do their own thing with their teams.
Yeah.
Michael Vickers from British Cycling, he's going out to support everyone. But normally he'd have staff with him, line spotters, in Cairns, we had line spotters, physios. Vickers had other people to help him. And it was great. I couldn't fault them. They did an amazing job. We couldn't have asked for more. Whereas obviously Paul Mike, now he's had his funding cut. He's there on his own. These juniors that aren't on teams, I can tell you from experience at these races, they'll probably struggle to park their car. So because of these bubbles, we're not allowed to socialise with other people. They probably can't even go and ask another pit, if, I've got space in my pit for maybe another rider, but I won't be allowed to do it.
Yeah.
Because of COVID regulations. So yeah, it sounds like it's just going to be quite kind of, roll with as it comes and be quite reactive. And I'm sure Vickers will do everything he can to help people. But
yeah, it's not great at all, really. But I don't know if it's a direct result of them losing the HSBC sponsorship. I'm sure it must have had an impact somewhere along the way.
Yeah, maybe it's that. I think the main thing is just COVID. BC makes a lot of its money from events, and they haven't held any. So I think any budget they do have will, of course, go off to the cross country like it always does. And then, the downhillers are just left to get on. So, which is mad because we're the only ones really with a chance of bringing home a medal.
Yeah.
Maybe in the women cross country, there's a little different, but yeah, it seems a little strange to me, but hey ho.
It is what it is. Well, thanks for the info. We'll be back after these messages with one of the riders who'll be fighting for a medal for Team GB. Common Cell 100%'s Greg Williamson. Okay, so our first guest tonight is a man for the big occasion. Two-time GB national champion. Common Cell 100%'s Greg Williamson, a.k.a. G Willie. Welcome to the show, Greg. How's it going?
Cheers, mate. Yeah, no, happy to be on, and all good. Just currently sitting in Schladming, just getting a bit of practice ahead of Leogang, get used to the Austrian dirt, and now looking forward to it.
How long have you been out there?
Just about only 4 days. 3 days. 3 days. So just here.
There's quite a few people out there, isn't there, at the moment?
Yeah, quite a few teams. Today on track, there was Mondraker guys, there was the Trek team, there was the some of the YT guys, there was some propane guys, there's a load of them here. So it's quite fun actually because the track's getting real rough. So
nice.
So
if everything goes ahead, are you planning on staying out until loser? No trips back home in between?
Yeah, no, I'm out here for good. I actually decided to drive out just to avoid flying, and also it's a bit easier just to take everything, isn't it? So no, I just did that, and now I'm here for the long haul.
I thought I saw the Caledonian campers. Is that you?
Yeah, hell no, it's not me.
Right, I saw a van in your Insta the other day, and I thought that was you.
Yeah, no, it's some friends of mine, Caledonia Escapes, and they've got a bunch of around me, chalets and cottages, just holiday escapes really, and no, they're really nice, so they're helping us out a bit, which is greatly appreciated.
Excellent. Well, you must be delighted to make Team GB again. Tell us a bit about your preparations.
Yeah, absolutely stoked. Yeah, just the same prep as normal for World Cups, but yeah, obviously a bit extra for the Leogang track. But I hear there could be a few changes to the track, which is interesting. Some guys are saying they're going to cut into the field a bit, and it could be quite boggy in sections. So that's going to be real cool to see something different and not your typical bike park Leogang. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. How have you dealt with the COVID thing?
It's been tough. Yeah, I did my best to avoid it as much as I could, and I was out in France doing a lot of the races, and yeah, there was a point where quite a few people were catching it, and especially in Morzine, and we were really just getting worried, like, God, we're really gonna have to like tighten down the hatches and just avoid it as much as we can. So we actually decided after I was out doing French national champs, I managed to get an entry for that.
Yeah.
And I was going to do Meta BA the next weekend, and we're in Morzine the week between. Rented a house, and we were like, right, we've heard.
Week, Greg?
Sorry, with the Commensal 100% team.
With the team, I didn't know if you were with the team.
Yeah.
Go on, carry on.
Yeah, so with like Thomas and Bricks and everyone, and we were just like, oh shit, like hearing loads of rumors, like people catching it, and they're like a cluster. So we were like, shit, right, let's just isolate in Morzine and not do anything silly that's not ride. And we got tested on Friday ahead of Meta BA, and we're all good. But then just as we travelled to Meta BA, we were like, not feeling too good. And a few of the boys were like, not sure, like, I'm keen for this. So they actually made the decision not to go, because, again, a lot of people that were in Morzine were going to the race, and it was like, it's not really worth it. So we all decided to go home. For me, it was a flight home, and the rest just drove home. But got home, did the normal thing where I just, protocol for COVID was like, get off the plane, go get tested. Stayed by myself, got tested at home, and I was positive.
Oh, no way.
Oh, jeez.
So when that happened, I was just like, oh my God. And then as it kind of went on, the symptoms started to come on, and honestly, it wasn't even that bad. It was just like the common cold even, like not really that fluey, but more just like a kind of sniffly nose and actually quite a sore head. But so I spent my time, did my 2 weeks isolation by myself in my house. Had the people call me quite a lot, and I was just like, oh geez, like so many questions, who you're in contact with. So I had to give them all that information. But then after that, I just slowly had to kind of rebuild and just go back into training quite slowly, just because there was a lot of time off, and I guess it did affect me in the kind of like getting back up to speed process, I guess.
I'm sat here shivering and with a sweating at the same time and hoping I haven't got it. I went out on a big ride yesterday and overdid the caffeine, and woke up this morning thinking, oh, that's what it'll be. But now we're like 12 hours on, and it's still not feeling great. So I hope it's not a bug. Well, hope it's a bug and not COVID.
Yeah, I hope it's not that either. Jeez.
Well, you can't catch it through a laptop, so hopefully not.
True.
Then again, it's COVID. Maybe you can. There's all kinds of stuff in the news about it.
Oh, how funny is all the people like thinking they know, like, oh, you've got it now, so you'll never catch it again. And then the next person's like, oh, no, you can catch it twice. There's different strains. And
yeah. So did you do any racing? Because I'd seen on your Instagram were you at Lemogne? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I was there. I did get to do like a timed run at like 8 o'clock in the morning ahead of the race day, and I think I was top 10. I'm not sure exactly where, but it was good. It was good just to ride the track with like all the Frenchies. They're obviously so fast just now, so good to be out there and get some bike time. I did do the race the weekend ahead and lesed it out, but I crashed, so that was a bit of a bummer. But yeah, what can you do?
These things happen. So you've obviously you've been on big teams, starting with Trek World Racing, then Cube, and then was it 3 years with Cube? Is that right?
Yep. No, 2 years. Sorry.
2 years with Cube, and then you moved on to Uno. And if I'm right in thinking, you ran that program yourself, similarly to how I do. Is that correct?
Yeah. No, I definitely. Well, myself, I wouldn't take all the credit. There was a lot of people at Uno as well, still kind of helping, obviously. With a lot of it, because at the end of the day it was their kind of team, but no, I managed the team and organized everything with the kind of what products we're going to use, and obviously the race schedule and handling all the parts, a bit like yourself with your team. Yeah.
what prompted the shift from being on those teams to going, hang on a minute, I want to do this in a different way and do it that way?
Yeah, it was a tricky one really, because obviously I did have a lot of success with Cube and I really enjoyed it, but there was a few things that were happening, nothing really major. It was just more kind of, had I looking in hindsight, I would have maybe wanted to stay there a bit longer, but there was a few things that were kind of not really getting fixed that I kind of wanted to change.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of pushed going to that, and then I was like, oh, there is an opportunity there, but and it is kind of like a boutique bike that a lot of people have heard about but not really seen. So it was quite exciting to kind of bring that to World Cups and be like, we'll be a part of it. So
what was it like to ride the Uno?
Oh, insane! Like I still say to anyone, it's an incredible bike. Just the way Cesar has just kind of created really like rider friendly kind of like the way it kind of flexed the carbon was quite unique. It was all the layups were in the right spots basically, and it just gave you a better riding experience. Again, going back to like the Cube days, it was kind of like I actually wanted a bigger bike, and they couldn't really make one because they only make one size. And you can imagine having one mold and being handmade, it's a lot of costs. So they weren't quite prepared to do that at the time, but I'm sure they will in the future. But I wasn't really willing to wait.
Absolutely. Did you enjoy those 2 years with Uno in terms of being able to kind of plan your own stuff a bit more and not be kind of tied down to a team manager and a schedule? Did you enjoy being more in charge of your own business?
Yeah, I did, absolutely. It taught me a lot, and obviously it comes with its stresses, but I was kind of willing to accept them and just treat it as a learning experience. It's the closest thing you'll do to running a business whilst, racing bikes. Yeah, so it was really cool. I wouldn't have changed it for the world, really.
And obviously now you've joined the Commencal 100 guys, which is, a middle ground, I guess, between track world racing and then running your own setup. How's it going? Obviously there haven't been many races, but have you settled in nicely?
Yeah, no, it's kind of strange. I got the memory there the other day for snowshoe, and I was like, shit, that's been a year already. Like, how'd that happen? Like, and feels like we've done a lot, but I guess we haven't race-wise. So really looking forward to Worlds. The team as well has been, yourself being in Commencal, it's just, it's amazing to be with a brand that's so forward-thinking and really progressive, like always changing to adapt to the courses we're racing. So, not carbon fiber as well. Going back to alloy, it was not as big a difference as you'd think, but it was a change. And again, with a higher pivot and stuff like that, it was really nice. And the bike fits me really well. I think I look quite good on it, so I'm loving it. Yeah.
Have you got an XL or are you large?
I'm large. I did try the XL, but it was just a little bit more of a reach than I'd like.
Yeah, I'm on the large as well, so that makes sense.
I'm on the XL.
Oh, you've got one, George. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but you're about 9 foot tall. So
with the extended chain stays in as well. I've got the first generation one, so as big as it can possibly be.
No, how tall are you, George?
6'6", so about 198.
How's the weather up there,
eh? Yeah. It's been a challenge getting bikes to fit, obviously, over the years, and I spent the first 2 years of racing downhill just going over the bars on every run because the bikes were just too small and I had no upper body strength. So now at least I've got a fighting chance, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So Greg, are you on because I know Thomas is on the mullet. Are you on the mullet or are you on 29?
I tested the mullet and it's still sitting there, but no, I'm actually really happy with the 29. I guess a lot of riders, shorter legs, would be like a mullet's great for them, especially I know that's what it's like for Fricks, so it's that. But nah, I'm just really liking the 29 just now. But I dare say maybe with a bit more testing in the winter, I'll try it some more.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of my thinking. Obviously, I'm 6 foot and ride the 29 and have no issues with it at all.
Yeah.
But with all of the Comments on Mukoff guys being on the 650B, it makes me think, well, I'm going to have to try it and put it on the clock and see.
For sure.
But yeah, it's definitely one that for the shorter riders, I think it's a no-brainer. Getting on the bullet and getting the smaller wheel.
Do you think Amauri is going to be tempted to go back to full 29 last season? Because he's not had the most auspicious few runs on the mullet.
I don't think he's that kind of person. I think he'll just be like, I had some crashes, let's go again.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your teammates for a little bit then. Thomas Stack and Hugo Frixthorn. Hugo's done well in the French Cups this season. You're like a team of super talented outsiders, aren't you? It wouldn't be a surprise if any of you ended up on the podium at Worlds.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like we're all kind of, we kind of have, I'd like to be obviously more consistent at the top, but yeah, we all kind of have our good results here and there. So no, for sure, we're definitely a bunch of wild cards, and hopefully we can find that consistency a bit more.
Cool. So your last proper race was that running snowshoe 2019 and last World Cup of 2019, and you finished 7th. You must have been buzzing with that. Great way to end the season.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I was happy with that. Was kicking myself for a lot of the off season with. I actually, you'll probably see on the replay, I came out of the woods and there's a flat straight, and I was in like last gear, and I had to like go back up the box, and I was like, geez, like how did I mess that up? But yeah, so I lost a bit of time at the finish, which cost me quite a lot, and yeah, so definitely gave me a bit of motivation for this season.
So when you finish on a decent result like that, how does that affect your off season? Does it motivate you more that you can do it, or do you find it a bit harder because you're at that level?
There's so many. I've thought this a lot throughout my career, like, because obviously sometimes you'll come out of a really good season and you'll sit back because you'll be like, I'm the man, like blah blah blah, like you're feeling real good, and vice versa, you can come off a really bad year and then you're like super hungry to get back up there, so it comes and goes, but you just need to try and be like as kind of level as you can through it all. So yeah, it's a tough one. Don't really know what the magic secret is. Still trying to find it.
Well, in the intro, I said that you're the man for the big occasion because in 2016 and 2017, you won back-to-back national titles. The sleeves, much coveted. All the big dogs were at those races. Tell us a little bit about those victories.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It actually all started back from 2013. I got third at national champs at Bala.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, like that kind of little Welsh valley there, like I always seem to have some good results there. So I wasn't too phased about, I'd actually never ridden Revolution before I won my first one.
Really?
So yeah, like, and obviously a lot of the UK guys train there. So I was I wasn't actually that phased by not being there before. So it was kind of fresh eyes, I guess. And once I got that first one, and obviously Danny was having a really good year, and I managed to qualify first, I was just like, oh, I can do this, and then it was like, got the ball rolling a bit more, and then when I won it, I was just like, whoa, like a massive kind of, like Steve Pete's like congratulating you, they're all there, and it's like, holy shit, like this is actually happening. So it kind of just like, once you've done that, to win it a second time the next year almost felt, it was almost harder, but it was in my mind feasible by no means necessary. So yeah, like it was really good. And
did you race? Was it Glencoe in 2018?
Yeah, that was a tough one as well, because again I was feeling real good. Like I was like, no problem. Like had a really good practice. Almost one of those races, and Drac, I'm sure will know this, where everything's almost going too well, and then it kind of came around in the race, and I like blew my feet on the fire roads. I was just having a super messy run, and I think I was third. But yeah, I was kicking myself a bit for that, because it would have been cool to got the 3-peat. But no, Matt Walker rode really well at that one, and yeah, he obviously deserved it on the day.
So those two wins that you had, did you approach national champs differently at all? Like There's no points. It's a one-off race, a bit like kind of world champs this season, really.
Yeah. Yeah, true. No, I'm sure I did in a way, but just kind of do my regular training and kind of, yeah, get as ready as I can mentally, physically, and yeah, that was it really.
You were pretty close to a medal in one of those, weren't you, Joe?
Yeah, I think I might have had 2 fourths, and I think the first one may have been 2013 when Greg came third. No, maybe not. But yeah, I've had a fourth at Llangollen and then a fourth at Bala when Greg won was his second one, Bala?
Yeah.
So I was sat in third. I'd had a stormer, actually, surprised myself. It was Danny, Charlie, me, I think, or whatever. And then, yeah, you come down and took the medal off me again. So, yeah, 2 fourths, never had a national medal, but this time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's part of the fun. Just
that's racing, yeah.
Keep hunting it. It's, yeah.
Keeps you hungry, doesn't it?
Exactly. Nothing better.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to this big one that's coming around then, Leogang. You've done well there in the past. Obviously, you came 6th there in 2016, that year on Cube when you were having a real stormer, and 2 6th and a 7th that season. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
And then 2018, you were 19th at Leogang. 2019, you were 14th. So pretty strong history there. How are you feeling going into the event?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, I love Austria. I was actually there for New Year. I was skiing at Leogang, which was quite cool. So I got a little practice if it's going to snow there again. But no, so yeah, I absolutely love it, and always have a good time. It's always my birthday weekend as well, normally.
Yeah. Start of June, I'm with you.
Yeah. It's a good time, and the track seems to. I actually had a terrible start to racing Leogang, and yeah, it just somehow came round. I guess it was something you're always trying to improve because it was a weakness.
Yeah, so, I can relate to that with Montserrat for sure. I struggled with it for the first few years, and then once it clicks, you just kind of know you can reproduce on that track. So what do you think is the key to a good running Leogang? You can educate me here a little bit as well, because I've had like a love-hate relationship with Leogang. Like I had a couple of bad years at the start, knocked myself out on the second time. First time I just didn't qualify with a crash. And then I started getting into it, getting results in the 30s. And then I had a 19th there in 2017, the year I came to Cairns. But then, yeah, go on. Because it's a tricky track, man. It's so fast. That's what viewers can't quite grasp when viewers sit there and go, oh, Leogang, why did they make them race that? Like, in my opinion, one of the hardest ones because it is so fast.
It is really
so fast. Go on. What's your feelings on the track and how to run it well?
Yeah, well, it can be very different strategy every year. Like before even the weather comes into play, you've got last year where they really, I thought, taped the track quite strange. Had loads of like kind of janky turns and just like bad kind of apexes and really trying to catch you out.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Whereas the year before you had nice sweepers and really nice turns, and it was super enjoyable just to ride.
Yeah.
And obviously the roots and stuff come out in the stump sections and stuff like that. So it all depends how they're going to tape it. And especially, like I said at the start, with the if they're going to go into like the field at all, with that could be boggy, especially at this time of year, and that's just going to put a whole different kind of like rutted mess into it. So, but for sure, the motorway is going to be the same. You've got to stay low on that. You've got to tack. You've got to pedal as soon as you can, and then maintain that speed right the way across the hill. And then you've seen it time and time again, when you get to that steep bit at the end, a lot of riders making mistakes. Lucas kind of throwing it away. I think Loris as well. So you really just got to ride hard and then maintain. Yeah.
And it's tricky as well because when the weather isn't great, it's that hard bike park ground that gets greasy,
Mm.
and it's just so easy to make a small mistake. And then on a high-speed track, when you do that, you end up losing a load of places for one mistake. So
For
yeah,
sure.
you have to just be consistent all the way down, which is very, very tricky.
Yeah.
Given that you're racing, I'm not going to ask you to predict the men's result, but give us your prediction for the women's race. Any ideas on who might win?
Good to see Tani back and fighting fit. I've seen her today; she's super focused. So, also Marine Cabri, I think, is kind of a bit of a dark horse.
Yeah. I think she had COVID as well, didn't she?
Yeah, there was a lot of people who have actually had it, and a lot of top names. I'm not going to name any, but yeah, there's quite a few of us that have unfortunately ran into it.
Yeah. Well, look, best of luck out there and for the rest of the season. It'd be amazing to see you on a podium.
Absolutely.
I hope you can do it.
Yeah. No, cheers, boys. Appreciate it.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I'll be out there on the track. So if you've got any questions anytime of what I'm seeing, just give me a shout. Happy to help anyone.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Greg. Thank you.
Nice one, dude. Good luck.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Jack, before we move on to the women's and juniors, let's just run through the main contenders in the men's race. Obviously, number one is Loic Bruni, 4-time world champion. Will he make it 5?
You can never rule him out, can you? I mean, I was only saying to someone the other day, off the back of his French Cup results, I was thinking, oh, what's going on here? Something's up. And then 2 days later, whichever race it was, he won it. And then he was, 3rd at the last French Cup. So, yeah, he's definitely on form, and you can never rule him out. So, yeah.
If he wins, you'd have to say we're in a period of domination, wouldn't you?
100%. I mean, yeah, that would just be ridiculous.
But it doesn't feel like it. Not to me, anyway. I don't know what you think, but you know when Gwyn was winning, it seemed like every race was his to lose. But with Loic, it doesn't kind of feel like that. You wouldn't be surprised if Loris won, for example. Is it because? Do you think it's because the competition's gotten stronger?
100%. In my opinion, Gwyn raised the bar back in 2011, 12. Raised the bar massively, and then like when we had Danny on the pod, he said that maybe in 2016 him and a couple of others raised it again. But now it's not just Loic who's unbelievable. There's a chance that on the day there's 2 or 3, 4 of them that could do that unbelievable run. Now I remember sitting at the bottom of Andorra last year, and Vergier came down with that. Vergier came down with that time 5 seconds into the lead or whatever. And I was sat there watching, and I said to whoever I was with, I think it was Simmons, I said, well, that's that then. Nobody's beating that today. And then Loic's top split came up 2.9 seconds up, and he went and won. And it was just like, what? And yeah, we're now getting to a stage where there's more than one guy that is going to do something unbelievable on the day.
Piron's obviously out injured. He'll quick Amari. Troy, he was number 3 at the end of last season. Looking at his results, he looks quite a bit off the pace, but holding something back maybe?
Yeah, I think he'd just be out having a warm-up, won't he? Brosnan's always there or thereabouts.
Yeah, and Danny, I heard he was, I'm friends with one of his friends, and I heard he was on pace at the French Cup when he crashed. He was ahead of Vergier, I heard.
Right, yeah, it's no surprise, is it? When we had him on, he was hungry, wasn't he? And Leogang's not his favourite venue, is it? But again, it's Worlds, so it's a downhill track, and he's gonna throw everything at it. So
next we got Loris, who has been the man of the summer in the French Cups, I think. He won by a huge margin at one of them.
Yeah, the wet one.
Yeah.
6-7 seconds. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. Minar, Greenland, Mark Wallace, David Trummer, Dean Lucas. That was the top 10 last season.
Yeah.
Any of those you think potential podium winner?
Well, I mean, they all are, but I mean, Laurie, was he second there last year, which was a bit of or the year before. So he's had a podium there. And then, I mean, Mark Wallace is absolutely unbelievable at the tech stuff. I don't think I'd be putting him on the podium there.
Laurie was 3rd in 2018.
Was that it? Right,
yeah.
Sorry. David Trummer, Austrian. had an amazing season last year. Could be a dark horse. I mean, Minar is for the big occasion. He's going to go well on the track.
There's no pressure. Outside the top 10 overall last season, let's look at some potential winners. There's a few. Charlie Harrison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Showing incredible strength last year, so definitely broke through and shows he can get on the podium.
Matt Walker.
Yeah, man. Like, think about the starts of the season Matt Walker's had in the UK the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Both first races of the season the last 2 years, he's turned up and beat Danny. He won that IXS Cup at Maribor last year. He is one hungry little fella, or big fella. I was talking to his dad a couple of weeks ago, and his dad says he's not lost any enthusiasm for his training and his preparation.
Really?
Season yet. So Matt is definitely going to be one to watch for sure.
Yeah. We need to get Matt back on the podcast, I think. I've not heard.
Hopefully after a good run at Worlds, we can get him on, eh?
Yeah, because he's not a big social guy, is he? You don't see a lot.
Just does his business, yeah.
Yeah, just get someone. Go on then, the big one, Aaron Gwynn. He won without a chain in Leogang.
He's got the world champ curse, hasn't he? I mean, you can never rule him out, but he's also never won Worlds. So it depends which Gwynn turns up.
Yeah.
If it's Aaron Gwynn from the seasons when he was unbeatable, then he's in with a shot. But the level's so high now. If another Gwynn turns up, then no.
Yeah. Finn Isles?
Somebody said to me the other day they thought it was going to be Finn Isles' season.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. But yeah, and he been rubbing shoulders with Loic, hasn't he? So at the French Cups. So yeah, could be one for him.
And last but not least, a real outsider, a real curveball, Bernard Coulanges.
Yeah, shout out to Coulange. Tried to get him on the podcast with us today, but he says he's just got to work on his English a little bit longer before he comes on. He's had some amazing results in France this summer. He's French national champ now. He won a French Cup, beating Loris and Loic and Omri. Obviously, Omri had a crash, but yeah, I mean, he's had an amazing year. Whether Leogang's his favourite kind of track, I think he'd say it wasn't, but he's got the momentum behind him. So
how do you do that, do you reckon? How do you come from... He finished last year at the end of the World Cup 72nd.
Yeah, but he'd had some injuries. I think Coulanges has some plenty of top 15 results in his time. Right. I know him quite well because we've both ridden for O'Neill, we've both ridden for Nikolai. So I've been aware of Benoit for years, and but as you say, like he's being someone who I'd kind of want to beat and would feel like I can race against competitively. Whereas this year, at the French Cup I did when I came 14th, he came 4th. And we were 9th and 10th at the first split, 0.2 apart, and then he took 5 seconds out of me in the bottom sector. I thought it was a timing error. I genuinely thought it was a timing error. Said to my dad, I said, I'm not happy with the time. This doesn't make sense. I've ridden well. But the following week at Les Douat, he went and won. And I was like, no, there was no timing error. I just ran too slow. So yeah, who knows? Benoit might surprise everyone and keep going with what he's been doing.
Do you know if Martin Mays is racing?
No, I have no idea.
No. Well, how big is that first time training session psychologically, do you reckon?
I think it depends on who you are. As we know, Danny likes to go up there and, bang his runs out and make sure he's feeling good by the end of the day and doing some timed runs. And there's other riders who are never on, usually anyway on the time. So I think it very much depends on how you approach practice. For me, it would be a big thing. When I went to Cairns, I'd not done well there the year before. I'd come, I think, 56th. I didn't like the track at all. So that first time session was massive for me because obviously I was representing GB. I was at Worlds. I wanted to do well. And I think I was 20th. So I was like, right, we're doing well here. And that helped me then progress. And then in the finals, I was 12th at that first split and just made a mistake and came 25th. But if I'd had a bad first timing session, I think I would have struggled to progress to get that finals result because it's all a stepping stone towards a finish. So it depends on how you approach your race, I think, on how important that session is.
The same with those French Cup results. Do you think they're big psychologically?
Yeah, so for someone like Troy, who I think, did he come 8th or 9th at the last one? No, it's not big psychologically because he'll have just been using it as a warm-up, get on the clock, ride the track, stretch his legs. Someone like Benoit, it's massive.
Yeah.
He's going around beating Loic and beating Loris. It's huge. It rolls him into world champs with great confidence. So yeah, it very much depends on your level and who you are and what you respond to. Some of those guys are going to be burnt out. I was thinking this today. There's a lot of guys who've been in Europe now all summer racing almost every weekend.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got guys like Minard, has he done one race? You've got Laurie who's done one. I think Danny went to one. Matt Walker's not done any. Charlie's done one. So you've got a lot of guys who are going to be super fresh and some guys may be a little burnt out. So it's going to be interesting.
Let's do some predictions for the men's race then. Who are you going for? 1, 2, 3.
I think you're going to have to come back to me at the end of the podcast. I can't decide now. There's just, like we said, there's just too much choice.
It's hard, isn't it? It's like a scattergun.
I can tell you now, Loic's in my top 3. I don't know where I want to put him. But come back to me at the end of the pod and ask me again. And I'll have it ready because I just can't do it. There's just too much choice. I
did this on 2 separate occasions. I did it about 2 weeks ago and then I did it again this week when I was drafting the podcast out. And I ended up with this I wrote it down and forgot about it. And then when I came back to it, I'd written the same 3. So I'd gone for Loris to win, Danny second, and Aaron third.
Right, yeah.
So who knows?
Well, it's 3 of the big ones, so it's one of them. There's every chance it'll, it's a solid bet for sure.
Well, we'll be back to talk about the women's race after these messages. Next up, we have the 2018 and 2019 Junior World Champion and World Cup overall winner, Vali Höll. Welcome back to the show, Vali. It's only been a few months, but have the preparations been going?
Hey, nice to have me. Well, it was pretty cool actually for me, and I had so much time, without school, and the bike parks were back open, the lifts were open, so it was actually a pretty sick summer.
Yeah, you. I think when we last spoke, you were just finishing school. Is that right? Did that all go okay?
Yeah, all good. Actually, pretty good for that I didn't really study for it. So yeah, I was pretty stoked.
Cool. And you've bought your own place, is that right? Or got your own place?
Yeah, I got my own apartment. A few bits are still missing, but it's getting all together.
Cool.
Nice. That's a big step at your age. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where is that?
It's actually like in the middle of Saalbach and Leogang. So it's only 15 minutes to Leogang or 15 minutes to Saalbach. So perfect.
Ideal location. Nice.
Yeah.
Living the dream. So how have you managed your training and how have you managed to kind of stay motivated?
So basically, like straight after I graduated from school, I went 1 week to the Red Bull training facility in Salzburg. Yeah. And then we tested everything. And then from that week on, we put a new training plan on, which was a bit more tense, just like more days in a week of training. Yeah. And yeah, that was pretty exciting. It was definitely the first 2 or 3 weeks pretty exhausting because I never did like 2 sessions a day. But you kind of get into it. And to be honest, like it's the only thing I have to do at the moment. So
yeah.
I mean,
it's a bit time for it.
Yeah.
So how many days a week are you doing 2 sessions?
4 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that pretty consistent with you, Jack? Are you the same?
I had a stint in the summer when we did 2 sessions a day, yeah. And then I kind of came off that. I can't even remember how many weeks ago. And more time on the bike and some gym sessions. But yeah, certainly had that phase in the middle of the summer where it was like, right, well, let's just do loads of gym work and try and push for more.
But it's actually tough to, nobody thinks that if you do like a riding session in the morning, it's actually pretty exhausting, even though you just did like 5 runs, but I don't know.
No, 100%. Yeah, people take for granted how hard it actually is to do a downhill session.
You've had a couple of videos out over the summer. There was the It's a Vibe one for YT and the Sound of Speed for Red Bull. You got some style going on there. There's Scandi flicks everywhere in the Red Bull one.
I think it was just a camera angle.
But you seem to have quite a bit of input into that video. Is that something you enjoyed doing?
Well, it's cool if you get to film at home, so you know where the spots are, and you know, every time you're riding the trail, you think like, oh, that would be a cool angle to shoot, and I think it turned out pretty cool actually.
And the intro bit with the wasp or the bee, that was all done in post, wasn't it? There wasn't really.
No, it was right there. Yeah.
Really?
It was pretty fun. Yeah.
That's very cool.
It was like I think the 5th shot we did. So yeah, it was funny.
Excellent. I don't think you've raced this season, unless I'm mistaken. Were you tempted by the French Cups or?
No, I did some races. I did the Czech national champs, the Slovenian national champs in Maribor. Right. But yeah, I didn't really know about the French champs. They look pretty cool.
Yeah, the French Cups were kind of kept quiet. I was already in France when I found out about those races.
Yeah.
So they told me about it, and yeah, I hadn't seen any advertisement anywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I hadn't been in France and spoke to someone French, I don't think I would have found out either. So yeah.
How did you get on at those races that you did do?
What, me?
Yeah.
Well, just like through David Trummer actually. Like he sent me, are you going to Maribor? I think, when is it? Well, next week. Sick. So let's do it.
Inside information as well.
Yeah, it's not like people, I think they weren't allowed to, you know, to make it public that way, that lots of people are coming because of COVID actually, but.
Yeah.
And where did you finish?
First at all races. Yeah.
Some things never change.
There you go. Were there many girls there, or were you kind of?
Well, not that many. There was Monica Rasnig in Maribor, which was
nice, yeah.
Track. So I think I was pretty feeling good in Maribor, and yeah, it was tough to beat her, but I did, so it was cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. So I'm heading out Wednesday, like I've just said to you. What can you tell me about Austria at the moment? We've seen a lot of snow on the, on the mountains. Is it still there?
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, yeah, on Saturday, Sunday, it snowed so heavy, and it's so cold at the moment. So, lots of tracks were closed. I think Schladming was the only place which was actually open, from the middle station down to ride. But Leogang was closed. I mean, they're closed this week anyway, but, you know, it would have been cool to ride during the weekend. But, yeah I hope it's not going to snow for World Champs. I mean, it would be sick. I think it would be something new, but it's actually pretty cold.
Yeah, definitely. Is the weather forecast down there looking like things are going to calm down, or is it looking wintry?
Well, it's not getting any better. I think it's gonna, rain all the time. But rain can turn into snow pretty quick here in the Alps. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it could go either way. So is there any kind of inside information you've got? What can you tell us about the race that we might not know?
Well, there's a new part.
Okay.
Yeah, which is pretty, it's going to be pretty exciting. So all the people who complained about Leogang being too bike parky, they will complain because it's going to be too hard.
Nice. So whereabouts is the new section? Is it in the upper section before the motorway, or is it?
No, it's like straight after the motorway. You take the first wall, right, but you don't take the second one, and then you go to the left side into the woods.
Nice.
It's all fresh loam, like nothing built.
Oh wow!
Just going straight down.
Amazing.
Oh, that sounds good. And is the top section more or less the same?
Yeah, apparently they can't change it. I mean,
they're pretty
it's
limited.
kind of the same, but they can't really change. Yeah, something.
Have you had chance to ride this new bottom section, or is it?
Well, we did it like a few times just to let them know like what is going to work or what not, and then they built a new jump, so a new river gap, which looks pretty big. And then, we jumped it to tell them if it's safe to jump.
Okay, absolutely, yeah, that's important, because if they don't speak to the riders and put in a new section of trail, sometimes it just doesn't work. So I'm glad they've done that.
So David Trummer and Andreas Korb, they were riding and testing it more, and I think it was good that they did it. Yeah,
definitely. Oh, I'm disappointed I don't get to ride now. Now there's a new section. Okay, so have you spent a lot of time riding the bike park this summer in Leogang, or have you been going elsewhere?
Well, I was trying to go like lots to Leogang, but there's at some point you just get tired of it because at some point you can't really get any faster on that stupid motorway because it's just not gonna work anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, looking at the women's field, it's great to see everyone fit and racing, because it's kind of been a while since all the female riders have been fit. To me, it's kind of anyone from 6 to win. There's Maureen, there's Tracy, Miriam, yourself, Tawny, and Rachel, and then possibly kind of Nina and Veronica as podium threats. Who concerns you most out of that list?
Well, it's so hard to say. I mean, it's so funny because like Tani and Rachel, they didn't do any races, and then you see Marina and Pom Pom, and Pompo just beating them all by quite a lot. So I think Pom Pom is on fire, and I would be stoked for her to win. But I mean, nobody knows about Rachel. She's riding all the time in their bike park, and Tani the same. So it's gonna be so exciting. But it's funny because I mean, I have to race too, but I'm not thinking about myself, to be honest.
I'm sure they'll all be worried about you, Vali.
No, for sure not.
I think I saw you riding with Miriam the other week. Was that in Leogang?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's been getting some track time as well.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Cool. You won qualifying by 18 seconds last year. There's not going to be any of that anymore. Do you think that will push you to go faster?
For sure. I mean, it's like we said, Anna and Mille the last year, that, even if we had a really bad day, we still end up on the podium, and we all know that this is not gonna happen at all. But I think it's pretty cool to have like a new goal, and it shouldn't be a race where you can ride and say, it doesn't matter if I fuck up. You always have to give your very best, and you shouldn't end up on the podium if you ride like that. I think it's my.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So obviously this is your first senior world championships, and it's on your home track. Are you feeling extra pressure because it's on the home track or not?
For sure. Like I tried to deny it and be like, it's in October, it's so far away, but now it's like it's next week, and it's getting closer and closer, and you see all the riders coming to Austria, and it's pretty exciting. And I mean, now I feel like it doesn't matter if I go to the gym tomorrow or not. It's not going to change anything. So,
Have you had a lot more commitments to do away from riding the bike with it being in your hometown?
Well, not really.
No.
Not many interviews and things like that.
Like I got my PR manager, and I think she's blocking them away a lot, because she knows that I want to focus on racing now and not like I mean, we did a lot, especially like filming over the summer, and I mean, I get lots of text messages like this week, and they want to do something for next week, but it's not going to work out.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to focus on the event and deal with the media things afterwards. So moving on from the feeling of pressure, are you feeling confident going into the event? Are you prepared? Are you ready?
Well, it's hard to say because we didn't race against each other. I think a World Cup is pretty cool because you can kind of set your expectations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now like everybody's in the field, even with Pom Pom and Rachel and Tani being out last year. Like I did quite good at the World Cups, but they weren't there. So it's hard to say. And I think I did my best, what I could do as a rookie, and let's see what happens.
Yep. So you're ready to fight. That's good.
You, Millie, as you said before, Millie and Anna, you were kind of 1, 2, and 3 throughout last season and the season before. Really, I don't know any of the other junior women riders who could take it. Have you got any kind of insight on the next generation coming through?
Well, I feel actually quite bad because I don't do either. I just know that the Frenchies have lots of junior girls, which is pretty cool. And I think, some other federations should really think about it, that why the Frenchies have such a good like junior field all the time.
Yeah.
And others, they don't even bring some. So that's actually pretty sad to see. But I know that we in Austria, we have some really fast 13-year-olds, which is pretty exciting. And I feel like, I went riding with them a few times, and, I would like to be kind of role model and, get more girls into racing for Austria. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
you said right. And it's really sad that the Great Britain aren't bringing any junior females either. And yeah, it's French racing. Because nobody else has raced this summer, we've seen how healthy the French racing scene is. There's so many riders, everyone's so into it. I was there for one of them this year. Couldn't believe how nice and friendly the atmosphere was. And yeah, I think it's just been a lesson to everybody else that that's what they should strive towards, because they're killing it in terms of how many people are racing, and it just shows that they've got so many young guys and girls coming through. So yeah, you're dead right. It needs people like yourself to encourage the younger ones into it.
Yeah, but what do you think like is the key to get more tuners in? I mean, it's not like you need like Bruni to do like a technique camp with them, but like, is it because they have more mentors like Nico Bullios and Fabian Barell, or what is it? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd probably need to look at what they are doing, but certainly I believe pro riders getting more involved with younger riders, maybe away from the races in the winter. Like, it's something I'm going to do this year. We've seen that the youth and junior riders in the UK haven't been able to race. So when I get back from this trip, we're going to do a bit of a day with the team. It's going to be tricky with COVID, but I kind of want to do it as like an open invite thing where any youth and junior rider can come along and ride with me, with Dan, ask questions, because they've all missed 12 months of their early careers. And at that age, it's such a vital time. So I think more of that needs to happen for sure. And then the federations just have to spend some money, in my opinion. The federation should be putting on these things for downhill. That's a big one. Getting these events and these camps going, bringing them out, getting them excited about racing, bringing riders along. You know, G Atherton's going to be here and Rachel Atherton's going to be with him. Come along and ride, and all of a sudden kids will get excited about it. But that doesn't happen at the moment. So, yeah.
Obviously, you're racing in the elite women's category, so I'm not going to ask you to predict that. But do you fancy having a stab at the men's race?
Well, it's going to be interesting if Loic is gonna get his 6th title. I mean, that would be crazy, and I think it's the same like what's going on with the French, like always winning world champs.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Wow.
But they put so much into it, don't they? The French, they put more into it than anybody else.
I don't think you could say that, because I mean everybody wants to win, but.
Sorry, I meant like the federation put more into it. They send line spotters. They have full support.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah, I witnessed that, because the first year I was doing world champs in Lenzerheide, I was riding with Cécile Ravanel, and she was showing me so much and teaching me how to ride World Cups and stuff. And then the guy came and said, you're not allowed to ride with me, because I'm from Austria. She should ride with the French girls. And it was like, whoa, I mean, dude, chill. But yeah, I think like it has to be that way to, well, it doesn't have to be, but it helps a lot if you have such a big amount of help as that track. So.
Did the Austrian Federation send anyone to help you and David and the other riders? Do you get line spotters? Do you get physios or anything from the federation?
No, nothing.
Really?
No.
Yeah, you see, it's interesting.
They do more for cross country, but not really for DH. So it's kind of sad, but no, I got the chance to be with my team, so I brought like 2-3 people who helped me. So, but it's sad. I mean,
yeah, it's the same in the UK. That this year, in previous years, they've had a good crew of someone in charge, line spotters, physios, mechanics. Whereas this year, there's nothing for the downhill. But yeah, I can imagine the French downhill setup. They'll still have everything they need to give those riders the best chance. So. I think they're leading from the front in terms of setting an example, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so final question, and it's a hypothetical one. Your time last year would have been good enough for 3rd in elite, but the field is stronger this time around. If someone offered you a bronze medal now, would you take it, or would you risk it all for gold?
I would risk it all.
Nice.
For sure. Like, what happens if I would be faster, and then I still have to be the bronze one, but for sure, risk it all, and then let's see.
You're a racer. Well, look, I hope it doesn't turn out to be a curse, but I'm going for you to win it. It might be a year or so too soon, but I think with everything that's gone on, home turf, I think it could be the start of a new age. So best of luck out there in the race and for the rest of the season. Thanks very much, Vali.
Well, thank you so much.
Good luck.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Jack, we mentioned 6 riders earlier. Who do you think will be picking up gold? Who are you going for?
I'm going to go for Tani.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm going to put Vali in second and Miriam in third.
I've gone for the exact same 3 riders, but I've gone
Really?
Vali, Tani, and then Miriam.
You've gone Rachel.
I did have Rachel, but I've changed it. Yeah, I've changed it. I saw Miriam doing some training on Instagram, and I thought it's influenced my decision.
Yeah, I saw that same thing, and me and Sarah were doing the. Could you get up off your knees onto your feet?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Did you try it?
No, I didn't try it. I can't do that.
I looked at Sarah and I went, I don't know if I can do that. And, moved the coffee table out of the way. We'd just been watching telly, and I'm on my legs like, I don't know if I can do this. And I managed it, but the first time I missed the timing that bad. I landed that heavy on my feet. I almost went through the floor.
Well, Miriam sent out a message to them all. We'll be back after these messages to talk through the junior men with Team GB and SR Suntour One Vision's Dan Slack. Dan Slack, welcome to the podcast. How are we doing?
Yeah, good to you.
Yeah, not so bad, thank you. Not so bad at all. Let me get this right. You've only raced 1 season of downhill and you won the UK National Downhill Series as a first-year junior, is that right?
Yeah, somehow.
All in a pair of ankle socks.
So this is like fairy tale stuff, isn't it? 1 season of racing downhill and now on Team GB at Worlds?
Yeah, first time for everything, I bet, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that is fairy tale stuff, really. Tell us a little bit about your background, though, because you were new to downhill, but you were in motorbike trials, is that right?
Yeah, so I was competing in that since I was 8, and I'd done every British Championship for about 8 years. And for the first 6 or 7 years, I got second place at every single one.
Wow.
And then I finally grew up and actually won one, the full championship.
Wicked. What made you switch from that then? What?
The sport was changing. It was really professional when I first started, but then it kind of got a bit downhill and scores were getting changed. And I'd been doing it for that long. I just wanted a change.
Yeah.
And it's I'd always ridden mountain bikes, and I was like, why not have a go at a race?
Cool. And you joined Jack on SR Suntour One Vision this season. What's the most important thing that Jack's taught you so far?
Careful, Dan.
Well,
keep it clean.
He's taught me a lot, but we can only explain some of them because of the listeners. Mostly about social media was a big thing, because before I'd never really done anything about it. It was post a video once a month if I felt like it.
Yeah.
And more to prove yourself on social media with sponsors, but also attention to detail, because it's changed from just being a kid who's racing British and little races to actually stepping up into a big league.
Yeah, I mean, I remember last season I did a track walk with you, and was it you and your dad?
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, and the level of detail that Jack does on a track walk was way beyond what we were doing that day, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, walking down, trying not to fall over and just talking.
But talk to me a little.
Revs that?
No, I think, was it a Bala?
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah. Talk to me a bit about fitness, because I believe he's whipped you into shape.
Yeah, quite a lot. So last year I never trained. It was just racing was just a thing, and it was kind of a hobby.
Yeah.
And then this year, signing with Jack, I've got on the Fit for Racing program, and it's absolutely savage. 4 days a week is enough. It's a lot of CrossFit stuff, which I'd never done before. We've got the muscle I've put on is massive compared to what I was, and I've lost a stone just in fat.
Yeah, you turned up at my house last November and you look like a bowl of rice pudding. Now you've actually got some muscle, which is good, so you can hang on to your bike.
Just about.
Yeah. So you just said to George there, obviously, that attention to detail has been something that we've looked at, and obviously we've been going away, and we had trips through the winter, and looking at all kinds of stuff, timing and setting up our bikes and things like that. How much of a difference do you think it's made having a professionally set up bike to help you go faster?
Like night and day difference between actually becoming like to unlock your speed. Last year I just got on a bike, set it up and never changed it all year. Like this year I've actually been playing with settings, testing different suspension to get the bike feeling right for me on a certain track. I'd say like to get to that high level, you couldn't do it without the professional approaching with the bike fully set up.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Can I just ask something? Do you look back now and wonder how you won on that old bike?
Yeah, well, when I had the first Common Self, I still had my Da Vinci.
Yeah.
And like when I got the Common Self set up, feeling amazing, I got back on the Da Vinci just for a little ride just on the road, and it's like, oh my God, how did I race it?
Yeah.
What is this? Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt small. Just everything was wrong.
Yeah, definitely. No, you've made great progress with actually being aware of stuff. Because at the start, I'd be changing suspension settings and messing around with progression on the fork and things like that, and you'd kind of be like, "Oh, what are you doing? What's that?" And then you just kind of go and ride. Whereas now you're almost coming to me and saying, "Oh, the fork feels like it's doing this. I'm going to try that," which is really good, because that kind of awareness is what you need. Because we'll go to Leogang next week and you'll get 4 or 5 practice runs on the first day.
Yeah.
And if you've already got an idea of how the bike should feel, it makes it much easier for us to get you going well on the track. So
with a good base setting.
Absolutely, that attention to detail is super important. And then with that, all the guys you're going to be racing against this year are going to be doing exactly the same thing. So we've had no World Cups. We've got juniors like yourself who haven't raced a World Cup before. We've got some second year juniors that raced last year, and then the first year juniors. Looking at the top teams, there's Ethan Shandro from Trek, Austin O'Callaghan at YT, Christopher Grice at Specialized. Did Seth Sherlock win one last year, George? Is that right?
I think he did. Yeah, was that before he joined Intense?
Yeah, he wasn't with them last year, so Seth may have. I think he rode the bike already, because I'm sure Chris Kavorak helped him. There's Seth Sherlock at Intense, Simon Chapelet. He's been having a good season, winning some French Cups, and then Gonzalo from Portugal. So Dan, who are you seeing on that list? Who you think is going to be your main contender, or are you not really paying much attention? Because I know what you like.
No, I'd go with the Simon Chapelet. It's like last year he had full factory sport with like the UR team, so he knows like how he needs to perform and the level the other boys are at. And as well, this year he's actually done some racing with like what's been going on with the French Cups, and he's been able to like place himself against the best, because Vergier's been at them, just to see where he needs to be at that level.
Yeah, I saw his time in one of them. He beat Breeden, I think, in one of the races. So he must have been moving.
Yeah, he's stepped up as well, because last year on the Polygon setup, he really didn't perform. Obviously, with us both riding for SR Sun Tour, I was, aware of his performances, and we were mixing in the same circles. And yeah, he was not qualifying at quite a lot of them last year as a first-year junior, and not really showing pace. And yeah, there seems to have been a change there, whether it's the reduction in pressure, now not being on a big team, helping him relax and helping him get into it, these French Cups, who knows. But yeah, I mean, there's certainly a list there of good riders, and it's going to work one way or the other. Either like I said this earlier in the pod, but some guys will have done too much racing and might be a little bit burnt out. And there's guys like yourself who've had the last 8 weeks just training and kind of revving up for this. So
who's the man to beat on Team GB? Dan, is it Luke Williamson?
Yeah, there's also Dennis Luftman. He's one that sometimes you see he has a like really good result always up there, or sometimes you don't see him till like back half of the result. So I think if he has a good result, and with it being wet, he's good in the wet.
Yeah.
It's probably Luke Williamson, like, because he had the experience from last year.
Absolutely.
And with the team support this year still.
Yeah.
Have you been to? What you're like, Dan, you probably didn't. We sent you some of this script, didn't we, to have a look at before we asked you the questions? And I bet you haven't even heard of half of them lads, have you?
I haven't heard of Ethan Shandro.
Yeah, you just get Dan. Just for the listeners, Dan he's the perfect racer. He's getting on with his own thing, focused on his own training, his own riding, his own bike. You couldn't give a monkeys about them, could you, mate? Just going to get on that track and do your thing.
Yeah, I looked at the Crankworks entry list and I recognised about 4 names on it in my class.
Exactly.
Have you been to Leogang before? What's Jack told you to expect?
No, I've never been. I've seen loads of course previews and stuff. What Jack said as well, like there's a bit bike parky at the top, so fast, and it's kind of carrying your speed while still being smooth.
Yeah.
This year I've seen a few Instagram stories from people with like the new bottom section, and it's looking like almost like a natural British track.
Yeah, we just spoke to Vali, and Vali's just confirmed that it is a completely new cut-in bottom section before the second wall ride. So from what she said, it'll suit you down to the ground, steep and loamy. So that'll be ideal.
Sounds good for the English boys.
Yeah, exactly. So we leave tomorrow, Dan. Obviously, you're coming up here in the morning. Obviously, we've got five weeks, Crankworks, World Champs, and then 2 back-to-back World Cups. What are you most excited about?
Definitely World Champs.
Yeah, of course.
And the time in the van for 5 weeks with the lads.
Well, look, best of luck out there, and to all the other Team GB riders. Stay with us for a minute though, because we're going to do. Jack was supposed to do his predictions for the men's race, but when we recorded that section yesterday, he took a bit of a rain check on it. So, and we'll get yours on that. Jack, you're out there. COVID's playing havoc. Someone has to pull out late in the day, and it's too tight for a reserve Team GB rider to make it. Are you taking the downhill bike as well as the e-bike?
Well, I mean, obviously I'll have my downhill bike because I'm racing Crankworks, I'm racing some World Cups, but I also know that G. Atherton and Joe Breeden will be there. So
I've actually found out today it's not G who's the second reserve.
So who is it then?
It's Mike Jones.
I was going to say the only other person I can think of would be Mike. Mike must have had a top 20 last year then that I've forgotten about.
So correction to that earlier in the podcast. We've recorded this episode over a couple of nights, and that information's just come out today. So
interesting call though. I mean, G finished last year 1 place in front of Charlie Hatton in the overall.
Yeah.
It's G. Atherton. Leogang would suit him, whereas if it was down Andorra, obviously you'd send Mike Jones because he's so good on the steep tech. So yeah, I mean, interesting call that one. I mean, technically neither of them are going to be racing anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. But yeah, Joe Breeden and Mike are both out there, so they'll both be ready to go if needed. I'm sure if either of them have to race, I'm sure they'll do a good job.
Have you heard anything about the races in Maribor and Portugal? Are they still going ahead as far as you know?
Yeah, so I mean, all we know is we've got double-header World Cups. The schedule will be Wednesday practice, Thursday quali race, Friday practice, quali Saturday race, Sunday. We've got a week in between them both. As far as I understand it, we have to get COVID tested in between each event, so the organisation know we haven't got it. It will be the same as World Champs, I imagine. You know, only accredited people will be allowed at the event. And as far as we know, things are going ahead. I mean, I'm speaking to some people and they're saying they don't want it to go ahead and they want to do Worlds and come home. We're not in that boat at all, for multiple reasons. Primarily, we're racers, we're athletes, we want to go out and compete. So if there's any chance of us doing that, then obviously we want to do it. And then secondly, we've got sponsors who provided us with support for a calendar year and for us to go racing. And we've been to one event this year. Obviously, we've done other things like Dan says with the social media, but yeah, if we can go racing and, you know, show off our sponsors' support, then that's what we want to do. So.
Also for you guys, you know, you've trained for however many months.
Exactly.
To go racing,
I don't train for 13 months to just do Crankworks. Like, obviously, like I want to go to Crankworks and race, but ultimately we put all this effort in and we kill ourselves in the gym for racing World Cups and racing against the best and all of us getting together and competing. So yeah, 100% want to go racing.
Well, best of luck out there. Take the mic with you. We'll try and do an episode while you're on the road.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And before you go, then give us your predictions for the men's race worlds. And you can jump in on this, Dan, as well.
So I'm going to go for, it's like stressful because like there's so many you could choose. I'm going to go for Troy taking a gold, mainly because I just want to see him win it. And then I'm going to put Minar in second because it's Minar, and it's a track that just suits him, and he'll always step up for the big occasion. And then Loic in third. But I mean, I could have chose three completely different people. I could have chose Vergier, Gwyn, and Laurie, and I would have had just as much chance of getting it right. So,
do you want to have a stab, Dan?
Yeah, I'm thinking Vergier for gold.
ooh.
Then
I went Vergier for gold as well.
Then I'd probably go Minar. And then I'd put Laurie in for third.
Nice.
Cool.
But there's so many to pick.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, I think that's about it for tonight. Thanks to Jack and all our guests for finding the time to come on. It's great just to have a race for us all to look forward to. Best of luck to all the riders racing worlds. It's going to be interesting for sure. Thanks again to our sponsors, Hope Technology, Revolution Bike Park, Schwalbe, and SingleTrackWorld.com. If you're enjoying the podcast, please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you've got a sec, please drop us a review. Alternatively, please give us a follow on Instagram at Making Up the Numbers Racing or Facebook.com/makingupthenumbers. Thanks very much for listening. We'll be back soon.